Now it's saying the meeting is being recorded.
All right, when you're ready.
All right. So what we're going to look at now is we're going to start to look at word problems that have an LCM or a GCF that we have to find in order to find the correct answer. So when we go through and do these, there's key words in there that is going to tell us what it is we need to do. So if we read this first one, Dan is buying flower bulbs for his garden. He wants the same number of tulips and daffodils. If tulip bulbs come in pack of 7 and daffodil bulbs come in packs of 9, what is the least number? Right there's the key, guys. The least number of each type of bulb Dan will need to buy. So what we're going to do is please highlight or indicate least number. And you're going to go and you're going to do your trees. So Mrs. Argott's doing it. Please write it. And you guys remember when we do least common, you take everything with the highest exponent. When you go through and do that, you're going to end up with 63, and make sure you please label these 63 bulbs. Okay, so make sure when you're doing this, you look for your keywords. That's going to tell you if you're going to do a GCF or an LCM. And Mrs. Argott's writing a little reminder there. Remember, you're going to list every prime number one time, and you're going to do it to the highest exponent. All right, we'll give everybody a second to write that down. I'm going to start reading 2. Edward is packing equal numbers of apple slices and grapes for snacks. Edward bags the apple slices in groups of 9 and the grapes in groups of 6. What is the smallest number of grapes that he can pack? All right, the key word here is smallest number. And smallest number tells us we're going to find the LCM. So please highlight smallest number, that's your key word, and go do your trees for 9 and 6. Remember, you take each prime number one time, and you're going to take the highest exponent. So there's your prime factorization. And we're going to take each prime number once. So I have to take a 2. And then I have a 3 raised to the first power and a 3 squared. Well, a 2 is smaller. 2 is bigger than a 1. So we need to take the 3 squared. When you go through and you multiply that, you end up with 18 grapes. Please label them. 18 grapes. Leave that up there for a minute for you guys to make sure you get it all down. We'll move to number 3. If you're done with 2, move to 3 and see if you could figure out the key word in 3 that tells us, are we doing LCM or GCF? What's the key word in 3? All right. Jonas Stationery sells thank you cards in packs of 12 and birthday cards in packs of 9. Surprisingly, the store sold the same number of each type of card this month. What is the minimum number of each card type that the store must have sold? So minimum means smallest. So that would be your LCM. Minimum is smallest, so LCM. And then go do your trees for the numbers 12 and 9. And then remember, each prime number once to the highest exponent. So she has your prime factorization written out there. We're going to take each prime number. So I have a 2 and a 3. And I only have a 2 with the 12. So I have to make sure that I take it squared. And then over here, I have a 3 to the first power and 3 squared. 2 is bigger, so I'm going to do 3 squared. And go through and multiply them out. And you're going to end up with 36 cards. Take a minute and get that one down. If you're done with 3, head over to 4, see if you could find the word that tells us what to do. All right, over to number 4. Wendy cut 4 pink roses and 8 white roses from the bushes in her backyard. If she wants to make some identical flower arrangements with no flowers left over, what is the greatest number of arrangements Wendy can make? So right here, our keyword is greatest. So that's telling me to do a GCF. Greatest is GCF. Go do your trees for 4 and 8. So when you prime factor 4, you're going to get 2 squared. And when you factor out 8, you're going to get 2 cubed. For GCF, you take only what's the same and the lowest exponent. So you're going to take the 2 squared because that's the lowest. And when you do that, you end up with 4. And the question says, what is the greatest number of arrangements? So you have 4 arrangements. So she just wrote down what I just told you, common factors. to the lowest exponent for GCF. All right, we're going to move down to number 5. A family is preparing book bags filled with school supplies to donate to children in need. They have 12 pencils and 18 notebooks. If they want to make all the backpacks the same with no supplies left over, what is the greatest number of backpacks they can fill? So right there, you have greatest number. So that's your GCF. Go do your trees for 12 and 18. And when you get to your prime factorization here for GCF, you're taking common and the lowest exponent. So you'd end up with a 2. And that 3 standing alone is just to the first power. So 2 times 3, which is going to give me 6. And the question said greatest number of backpacks, so 6 backpacks. All right, let's move on to number 6. Okay, it says Gwen is making fruit baskets. She has 7 apples and 14 oranges. Gwen wants to make all the fruit baskets identical without having any pieces of fruit left over. What is the greatest number of fruit baskets Gwen can make? So your word here that tells you what to do, it says greatest number. So that tells me a GCF. Go do your trees. So 7 is prime, so the only factor is a 7. And when you look at what's the same here, what's common to do your GCF, you see the only thing that's common is your 7. And it says fruit baskets, so we have 7 fruit baskets. Mrs. Argot, do you have on there the Unit 3 Part 4 homework on Schoology, I'm sure? The one with the GCF and LCM word problems?
This one?
Yes. All right, guys, she's going to show you on Schoology where you're going to find your homework assignment. You will be submitting these tomorrow. says GCF and LCM word problems. So you can write them on a lined piece of paper or print this out if you have a printer. And she's gonna make the spot for you guys to hand it in. So you'll see there right underneath what you're working on. Mrs. Argar created the spot where you're going to hand it in, and it says hand in here before class tomorrow.
I'm going to stop the share and we'll take any questions the students might have. I mean, I'm going to stop the recording here unless you have anything else to add.
I don't think so.
I'm going to try and stop the recording. I think I have to stop sharing for a minute.